The microphone is back, which means this is serious business. These are my top 10 books of the year so far. Hello friends, my name is Michaela. Welcome back to my YouTube channel where we talk about all things thriller books. Today is a very exciting video because I'm going to be telling you what are my top 10 books of the year so far. And we're in August, we're nowhere near the end of the year yet. So I wanted to do this now so I can see how this list may change by the end of the year. Something to look back on, you know. And then obviously these are my creme de la creme book racks that if you've not read these books yet, this is your sign. You need to read them immediately. Add them to your priority TBR. A massive thank you to you for taking the time to click on this video. It literally means more than I can explain that you want to spend this time with me. I hope you get some new book recommendations, maybe some new favorites. Without further ado, I'm going to shut up. Let's get straight into it. I was thinking do I do this 10, 9, 8, 7, 6? But that's too much. That's too much for my little brain. I can't do it. I'm sorry. So this is just going to be a generic top 10. I can't narrow it down. I will do that at the end of the year though. And one of the books in this list, I have not yet spoken about on the YouTube channel. I'm going to get the two books that I don't shut up talking about out the way. All right. We're going to get those ones that I never shut up talking about that you are probably bored of hearing me talk about. And the first one is, it's got to be, predict it. Go on. Human Remains by Jo Callahan. This is book 3 in the Blink of an Eye series. I don't think that's the official name. I think the official name of the series is the Cat and Locke series, maybe. And like I said, this is book 3. All right. Few of you have said to me, can I read this as a standalone? Yes, you can, but I'm going to tell you no, because you shouldn't. You shouldn't just jump into book 3. You need to read 1, 2, and 3 because they're all incredible, but book 3 is my favourite. It's like a running joke at this point how often I've mentioned this book series. It was a series that I started in 2025, so I've read all 3 books this year. And I have not stopped talking about them because they are absolutely incredible. It is a thriller book, but it's also a police procedural book series, my favourite. You're going to see a few of these crop up in this video, but this follows a detective called Kat as she is paired with an AI police detective named Locke. And our main character, Kat, is a bit hesitant. She doesn't want this AI detective to be working alongside her. She doesn't think AI has a place in the workforce. So she is really hesitant against it. And I feel like people get put off by reading this book series because it's AI. AI is a very controversial topic. Some people either love it, some people hate it. But if you've been put off for that reason, please don't let yourself be. I was exactly the same. I put off, this series has been on my radar, I think, for 2 years. And I'm so glad that I eventually picked it up. I feel like this series looks at AI in a very pros and cons way. It's not singing AI's praises and it's not bashing AI. So I feel even if you're pro or against AI, you will read this and be able to relate to some of it. And the very real topic of how AI is being implemented into workforces. But alongside that, it is just a standard police procedural as well. They're solving cases whilst we've just got that extra layer added to it with the AI. So the series part comes into it because you're following the same police detectives, you're following Kat and you're also following Locke. And we are solving cases. That's what the heart of it is. So every single book, you're solving a different case, but there is so much character development that I feel if you just went into book 3, you wouldn't get the same out of it because you haven't got to know the characters in book 1 and 2. And I also just want to mention that Jo Callahan is one of the most loveliest women I have ever had the pleasure of meeting. And it makes me want to shout her out about her books even more because she is so lovely. I could talk about this book for hours. I literally could. It's been 10 minutes. I'm going to have to trim some of this out because I just can't explain to you how good it is. So many of you have told me you've picked it up because of me. That makes me so happy. Jo Callahan actually herself said that she might have to stop paying me commission because of the amount of people that are tagging her in the reviews saying they got the rec from me. So that is just so lovely. This book deserves all the hype. If you've not read it yet, this is your sign. The second book I'm going to talk about is also a book that I speak about all the time. I told you, I'm doing you a favor, guys. I'm getting the ones I speak about all the time out of the way first. So if you're bored of hearing me talk about these books, just skip forward a couple of minutes because the next book is Bloom, but it's by Delilah S. Dawson. I bet you didn't see that one coming. This is a 200-page horror novella, so it is more in the horror genre than thriller, but like, don't be put off by that if the horror side of things also put you off. I'm not a big horror girl, I'm not, and I have made so many people in my life read this book, including my fiance Amy, who is not a big reader, and every time she finishes a book, she's like, it's not Bloom, is it? Like, every time she finishes a book, that's how she feels. She wants that feeling, and so do I, that this book gave us. Because the feeling, I can't explain it. I can't. This follows a girl called Ro who has just moved to a new small town, and she goes to a farmer's market one day and she meets a woman called Ash there who has her own stall, and she sells like homemade candles, cookies, that kind of thing. Ro quickly becomes a bit enamored with her, and she's just like, I've never felt this way about a woman before. Is it because I want to be her? Or do I fancy her, and there's some other feelings going on here. Bit of a bi-awakening, if you will. But there are just red flags everywhere. As you are reading it, you are just getting this sense of dread. You go into it knowing it's a horror book, so you know something's going to happen. There's red flags everywhere, but I don't think you will guess what actually happens. It hit me round the back of the head like a brick. Do you know when you just finish a book and you're just there staring at a wall? And you're like, what the did I just read? The best feeling, in the best way. Like I said, it's only 200 pages. So I feel like you could read it in one or two sittings. And I do think that is the best way to read this book. And I did have that thing where I was just like, where is this going? We need to keep going. It was perfect. It was perfection in a book. There is nothing I love more than standing here and talking about my favourite books. I swear, I'm having a great time. The Favourites by Layne Fargo is not a thriller book, but so many of my thriller book friends have also given it 5 stars. So I don't know, I do think it's maybe got some thrilling elements to it, and that's why, but I didn't expect to love this book as much as I did because it's not a thriller. So if that's put you off, don't let it. I'm just here convincing you, forcing these books on you. These are the books you need to be reading now. This book follows Katerina and Heath, who are a young couple. They are childhood sweethearts, first loves, and they are ice dancers. They dance together, ice dancing, not ice skating. They make it very clear that those are two different sports. I did not know that. Katerina is hungry for it. She is passionate. She is so passionate about ice dancing. She wants a gold medal at the Olympics, and she will do anything to make sure that she achieves that dream. Whereas Heath, he's not really bothered about it. Obviously, he's really good at it, but he's kind of only doing it for Katerina because he loves her and he knows how much she wants it. This book is unique in the way that it's told through mixed media. So as we're reading it, we're getting interview transcripts. I think it's a TV documentary going along as well. So we know that something's happened, but we're reading is we are reading characters over a large span of time. So we start out, I want to say we're first introduce them when they're 16 maybe, and then the book is you're growing older with them, and then in between you get those bits of the TV documentary where they're we never saw this coming, we didn't know this was gonna happen. So what happened? You're leading up to something. I feel these characters are real people. These characters in my brain are real people to me. It actually blows my mind that this is not a non-fiction, it's a fiction book. Because I feel it very much felt like a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. If you're a fan of Taylor Jenkins Reid, I feel exactly the same about her books, that all her characters do feel they're genuine real people. The writing and style of the book I thought was very reminiscent of Taylor Jenkins Reid. It was just absolutely incredible from start to finish. It's not very often that I would consider rereading books, but this is definitely one that I would absolutely reread. I did a bit on audio and I did a bit physically, and the audiobook is a production. It full cast, sound effects, it was amazing. Like, I actually think a really good way of consuming this book would be to do like immersive reading. So, you know, when you're listening to the audiobook and reading along at the same time, I think that would be incredible. And I'm so excited to see what Layne Fargo is going to come out with next. The Butcher by Jennifer Hillier was the first book that I gave 5 stars to this year. No, the first thriller book, sorry, that I gave 5 stars to in 2025. I was in like a bit of a thriller book drought. I was like, I'm giving books 5 stars, not many. I am very stingy with my 5 stars. I just want to put that out there. But I was just like, I haven't found a 5-star thriller. And then I read The Butcher. So the book starts out and we meet a retired police detective who is now 80 years old and his name is Edward. 30 years ago, he caught one of the most prolific serial killers who was called The Butcher, and he killed him. Like, he didn't just like murder him. It was like in a bit of a shootout, you know. He was a police detective. The other guy was trying to get away, so he was like, bang, you're dead. We then get another point of view in the book of a woman called Sam. Now, Sam is going out with Edward's grandson. Sam is writing a true crime book all about the butcher, and she believes that her mum was one of the butcher's victims. But there's a problem. Sam's mum was killed 2 years after the butcher was caught. So did they catch the right guy? So Sam is delving into like the case files, looking at the evidence again with the help of Edward to try and work out if they caught the right person and killed the right person. I just want to put it out there that this book is dark. I got Amy to read this book and she had to stop reading it because it was giving her nightmares. Like, it is really, really dark. Like, some of the stuff that's happening in it, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, okay, we're going there. And I actually felt like this was like a bit fresh. Like, it felt like different to most thriller books that I normally read. Like, I feel like it had something a bit different about it. I don't want to say too much. I actually feel like the blurb of this book gives too much away. So I'm trying, like, I am staying away from spoiler territory. Like, even if it's not classed as a typical spoiler because it is in the blurb, I think you need to go into this book knowing just what I've told you. Because from chapter 1, I was shooketh. Like, chapter 1, my jaw was on the floor. And like I said, it did feel like fresh. It felt different. But this is actually quite an older book. I want to say it was like Jennifer Hillier wrote it over like 10 years ago. So it is quite an older book, which is really interesting actually because it did feel so different. Go read it. But like I said, I've warned you, it's a dark thriller book. The next book is not a thriller book. It is not a thriller book. It's not a mystery. It is a cozy fantasy. Never did I think a cozy fantasy would be in my like top 10 books. Like, it was also the first book of the book I'm going to talk about was actually in my top 10 books of 2024, and the sequel is making it into my top 10 books of 2025. I can't see this book being knocked out, and it is Somewhere Beyond the Sea by TJ Klune. Not only did I never think a cozy fantasy would ever end up in like my top 10 books of any year, I never thought a book about magical kids would be in my top 10 books because I don't really like kids, except these ones. Apparently, these kids have my entire heart. They really, really do. So like I said, this is the sequel. So this is the sequel to The House in the Cerulean Sea. So you definitely need to pick that one up first because Somewhere Beyond the Sea carries on exactly where House in the Cerulean Sea finishes. So I'll tell you what House in the Cerulean Sea is about. That's probably the best way to talk about this book. So we meet our main character who is called Linus, and he is basically a social worker, but in this cozy fantasy world there are magical kids, and these magical kids are put into children's homes because they are considered dangerous. So there's like different levels of how dangerous they are. When one day Linus is called to a children's home, which is like level 5 classified children, the most dangerous children to ever exist. Dangerous. Like, one of them is called Lucy because his dad is the devil. Lucifer, Lucy. Like, Lucy's not dangerous. And he needs to check that these kids are behaving, they're being looked after properly. And when he gets there, he realizes that these kids are something more. He realizes that these are just the most amazing children to ever exist. And he takes it upon himself. He's like, right, I need to protect them. There is a bit of a romance in there as well. It's like not at like the forefront of it. Like that's not the main plot of it, but there is that like romance that you just can't help but root for. If you are going to read this book, I would highly recommend you do the audio. The audiobook was another one of the best audiobooks I've ever listened to in my entire life. I actually read House in the Cerulean Sea physically, and then I did a reread of it on audio just before Somewhere Beyond the Sea came out. The audiobook experience was so much better than reading it physically, and reading it physically was amazing. It's narrated by one guy, but if you listen to this audiobook, like you will never believe that it's one guy, because the voices that he gives these children, like incredible. I feel like it really brought them to life for me in my mind. Like, yeah, and this is another one where I'm like, I can't believe these aren't real people. And like, which is mental if you've read the book. These characters will stay with me forever. The Puppet Show by M.W. Craven was another book that I had had on my radar for such a long time, and I was always hesitant to pick it up because it was part of a series. I don't know why, but like I'm not a big lover of series, or I don't like starting too many series, which is mental really, because like a lot of thriller book series can be read as standalones, but I think it's because like I have to read them in order. Like if I know a book is in a series, like I can't just dip in the middle. I have to start from the beginning. So I think I always put it off because, yeah, I was hesitant about starting another book series. And what a mistake that was. What a mistake that was, because this book is incredible. I've still only read book one though. I read it quite recently. I want to say I read it in maybe June. And I am going to be trying to pick up the second book in the series this month because I am so excited. So this is another police procedural thriller book. 2025 was the year of me realising that I'm a police procedural girly. I really, really am. And in this, we're following our main detective, whose name is Washington Poe. Like, that's a bit of a mental name, isn't it? That's his actual name, Washington Poe. He's a detective, and he's kind of a bit of a disgraced police detective. Like, he's got himself in some trouble, and I'm pretty sure he's on suspension. When he's asked to look into a case, he's asked to kind of help look for a serial killer who is setting his victims on fire. Is set in the UK and is set in the Lake District. And the National Crime Agency have got involved, and they have paired him up with a woman called Tilly. She's a woman. She's like in her 20s. She's a woman. Tilly made this whole book for me. Washington Poe was great, but Tilly is incredible. She works for the National Crime Agency, and she is like an analyst. So she's not a police detective, like she's in the background. She's one of the really clever ones. She very much gives off Molly the Maid, Strange Sally Diamond, quirky, amazing, interesting, not explicitly said that they're neurodivergent, but give off like neurodivergent tendencies. They are my favourite characters to read about. I love them. And like the friendship they form is not romantic. I hope it doesn't get romantic as the series goes down. I can't imagine it will, because there's quite a big age difference between them. So I can't imagine it will. But like their friendship that they form, like how they work together to solve this case, and the actual solving of the case just made this book incredible. I didn't give it 5 stars actually when I read it. But like that was harsh. Do you know what I mean? I get a bit of like 5-star fear, where I'm like, oh no, like I can't give this book 5 stars. And then I usually sit on a book and then I'm like, yeah, that was a 5-star. I've got a couple of others that I'm going to talk about that I didn't rate 5 stars, but they are 5 stars. Just call me stingy. And if you've watched the vlog where I read this, it was the vlog where I went to Cardiff. I will link it. Like I said, this is set in the Lake District. Amy is from the Lake District. And as I was reading it, I was like, I really recognise the name of that hotel. Amy used to work there. That is mental, isn't it? I also met M.W. Craven at Harrogate, and he was so lovely. And apparently he based Tilly off his wife. And I thought that was really interesting and cute. This is just your friendly midpoint reminder that if you're not subscribed to my videos yet, I would absolutely love it if you could subscribe and hang out with me all the time. Give this video a thumbs up if you're enjoying it. Thanks. So I've actually read 2 of Kristen Hannah's books this year, and I couldn't pick one. I gave them both 5 stars. So I'm kind of cheating by putting them both in here because like I think like you should read them. They're not thrillers, they're historical fiction. I am a historical girly. I like historical thrillers. I didn't think I'd be a historical fiction girl, but apparently I am, especially Kristen Hannah. Like her books are incredible. So the two that I've read this year are The Four Winds and The Great Alone. Last year I read The Women as well, and that was incredible. So I'm giving that a shout out in here. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about them because like I feel like a lot of you are here for my thriller book recommendations. But like I got to be real with you. Do you know what I mean? These books have to be in my top 10 of the year. I've actually done all of Kristen Hannah's books on audio, and to me that is the best way to consume them for me. I don't think I would love them as much if I read them physically because they are quite dense. They're quite emotional. They're very character driven, which I love. Like I love character driven books, but I just don't know how well they would work for me physically. And I absolutely love Kristen Hannah's audiobook narrator. I think her name is Julia Whelan. She does like a lot of the very popular books. And like, I know if I see her as the audiobook narrator, I will typically love that book because like she really brings the story to life. She's an amazing, amazing audiobook narrator. So like if you are into historical fiction and you haven't tried Kristen Hannah yet, the ones I would recommend to you and I want to put in this list are The Four Winds and The Great Alone. It's not very often books make me cry. These did. I had like a little trickle. I'm not like outing myself here. I didn't sob. I just like trickled. Got a rep to protect. The Fellowship of Puzzle Makers by Samuel Burr. Now, I'm going to be real with you. When I pre-ordered this book, I did think it was a thriller book. I don't know why. I thought that, but it's not. I would say it's a cozy mystery. And like when the pre-order came and I was like, oh no, like, oh, I'm a bit nervous. I had no idea it was going to end up on my top 10 books of the year. What a surprise. So this book follows a guy called Clayton. Clayton was brought up in a commune of the best puzzlers in the United Kingdom. You know, like the people who do the crosswords in the puzzle, like they design them. They're like doing the Sudokus, those kind of people. They are the top puzzlers in the United Kingdom. They all live in this big, massive mansion. And Clayton was brought up there because he was left on the doorstep of this commune when he was a baby. Nobody knew who left him there. So they've took this baby in and kind of like raised him collectively in this. It's not a cult, is it? It's not a cult. Like it's a commune. There's a difference. One of the women who raised him was called Pippa, and she was like more like his mum than anyone else in there. And she has sadly just passed away. But because she's a puzzler, she's got one final puzzle up her sleeve, and she has left Clayton loads of clues to find out about where he really come from. And you know what's cool? Like the book contains the puzzles. You don't have to solve them. I was a bit nervous about that because I'm not very good at puzzles, I'll be honest. So I was like, oh no, if I've got to do this, I'm going to be reading this book until like 2027. But you don't. It's kind of just like if you want to, you can. And it was just the most wholesome found family mystery. It is a mystery because you're solving the mystery with him as he is finding out. Like you're finding out at the same time as him and putting the pieces together. I finished it. And you know when you just finish a book and you're just like, wow, I did not expect that book to leave such an imprint on me. I want to say I read it like 4 months ago and I still think about it all the time. And I actually never see anybody speaking about this book. I actually don't think I've seen anybody else review this book online, which is criminal, literally criminal, because this book is so good, so good. It's also got amazing representation, which we love. And I just thought like the setting was so interesting. Like I've never read anything like that before. And I thought it was so interesting because like there are these people out there, aren't they? Like who the bloody hell do we think is making the crosswords in there? Like I've never actually thought of that. Murder in the Dressing Room by Holly Stars was one of the first books that I read this year. I actually think I read it in my first ever reading vlog on YouTube. How crazy is that? This is another one that I didn't give 5 stars when I finished it, but it's just left such a mark on me and I think about it all the time. Like it is fully deserving of a 5-star rating. Smack my hands. Talking about representation before, this also has great representation because we are following a drag queen as she's trying to solve a murder. So the drag queen's name is Misty Devine and she works in a club in London, and one night she goes to work and she finds her drag mum, Lady, dead with a piece of chocolate in her mouth. The piece of chocolate's killed her. Misty Devine doesn't feel like the police are really taking it very seriously. So she's like, bitch, I'm going to solve this murder. This is RuPaul's Drag Race in a book because it contains so many drag queens and drag kings. Yes, drag kings that like is amazing. It was so camp. It was so colourful, like, but also just a really good mystery at the same time. Like, it was such a fun read. This is also going to be part of a series. So Misty Divine is coming back, I think, next year. I'm so excited. As soon as like I can pre-order it, it will be getting pre-ordered. Do you know when you just like want a book that's like just not that serious and you just want to have a good fun time? Like the last two books, I would say, maybe not The Fellowship of Puzzle Makers. That is fun, but it's also like really wholesome. Whereas I would describe Murder in the Dressing Room as like a camp fun time. Also, Holly Stars is a drag queen herself. Like, so is written by a drag queen. How else can I convince you to read this book, please? Okay, and the last book I want to talk to you about is one I have not yet spoken about. This is kind of like a little bit of a sneak peek because I have vlogged this book. It's going to be the next video, I think, on the channel. So, like, you guys are getting it first. Do you know when, like, you go into a book and you know 10% in that it's going to be a favourite? Like you just know, you get that feeling, you get that 5-star energy. I knew instantly. It's been a long time since I was this excited about a thriller book. I feel like because I read so many thriller books, I'm really hard to please. I'm really, really hard to please. And the book I want to speak to you about is The Girl Who Was Taken by Charlie Donnelly. This book came up on my radar first because I seen my friend Since Corner on Instagram and she's on YouTube. She has been reading like all of his books and can't say like good enough things about him. And when we were at Harrogate, we were speaking about it. And then also Francesca has also been reading a couple of his books lately. So I was just like, right, I need to do it. So I messaged Synth and I was like, which one should I start with? And she said The Girl Who Was Taken. So I downloaded it. It's on Kindle Unlimited and I started reading it straight away. I need a trophy copy, but for some reason, his books are so hard to get a hold of in the UK. I'm unsure why, because like I can get the book on Kindle Unlimited, but I can't get any like paperback version. I have to get it from the USA. Why? Somebody's telling me why. Anyway, I'm going ahead of myself. Let me tell you what the book's about. Two girls are at a party. They're both, I want to say they're in college. They're at a party and they both get abducted and go missing. Very quickly into the book, Megan, who is one of the girls, escapes. We're getting the point of view of her as she is escaping and getting away and she is saved. We then fast forward 12 months later and Megan has written a book all about her ordeal. But where is the other girl? The other girl is called Nicole. We then get the point of view of Nicole's sister, who is called Livia, and she is a forensic pathologist. So she does like the autopsies of people who have had like suspicious circumstances with their deaths. And every single time a body comes in that's a Jane Doe, she's thinking, is it going to be my sister? Until one day a body turns up in the mortuary that isn't her sister, it's a guy, but he could be involved in what happened to her sister. The writing was incredible. The pacing was incredible. Every time you felt like that little bit where you were like, okay, come on, like, let's go, something would happen. And then you were locked back in. I couldn't stop reading this book. Like, do you know when a book makes you want to lose sleep? That's how this book felt. And I love my sleep. There's not many books I want to stay awake for. And this was one of them. I'm really interested in like mortuaries, dead things. I know I'm a weirdo. So I found like the forensic pathology side of it, like, because quite a lot of it is set in the mortuary. I found that so interesting. And there's a lot of medical speak, which I thought I would find confusing, but the author did it in such a way that it wasn't confusing at all. I think this might be my favourite thriller book of the year so far. Oh, I said it. I don't know. I need to sit on it because I've literally only just finished it. So like I do need to sit on it. But I think it might be. You're going to have to come back at the end of the year and get my official top 10 ranking. All of Charlie Donnelly's books are on Kindle Unlimited, and I feel like I'm about to go on a binge. I feel like I might need to start like just reading his whole backlist. If you have read this book, I need you to know, did you love it as much as me? And also, I'm extra happy because this is the book that we're reading for my online book club this month. Like, so that's a winner, isn't it? If you want to join my online book club, it's completely free. The link's in the description. I host it on Fable. So that's a winner. The fact that it was my online book club pick. So if you stay to the end, that's your little rewards. And that's it, guys. That is the end of this video. Honestly, I've loved filming this. Talking about like your favourite books, best feeling ever. I could literally stand here and talk to you all day. I'm obsessed. If any of these books are your favourites too, I would absolutely love it if you could tell me. Or if you disagree with me, also tell me. I love chatting to people about like why I loved a book versus why they didn't. Thank you so much for taking the time to click on this video. I appreciate you more than you know. I would love it if you hit the subscribe button and stuck around. And I shall see you next time.